Good morning, everyone. So I'm so excited. I mean, I'm sure if you watch my Facebook Lives, you're about to say, like, who are all these amazing women? Usually I have one or two, but I am overloaded with women power this morning. And I just told them all, I don't know if I'm so worthy of this incredible honor. These are the women who boss up. I mean, come on. The women who boss up, the profiles of women who have broken the mold to achieve. They've overcome difficulties or inspired change through relentless endeavor, hailing from across the globe, diverse walks of life, and varied disciplines, including STEM, healthcare, finance, coaching, nonprofit. Um, the best part is they also have a book that we all need to, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And they're the proud collaborators of an effort of 16 women of color trailblazing in their respective businesses. So I think, without further ado, nobody needs to hear me talk. I'm going to start with Kiki. You're in my upper left-hand corner. What I really want to do is give you all an opportunity to say who you are, um, a little bit about yourselves, how you came to be a part of this amazing book. And since we were just talking about it, in order to get this book, you do need, and to get it autographed, because it should sit on your shelf autographed. Go ahead, throw in how you find each of you through your own social network, because I know when we're done, we're not going to have enough time to dive into every single thing about you, but somebody's going to want to know more about each of you. So please take this moment to say how to find out more about each of you. So welcome to all of you. And I'm going to end up going across my screen, but Kiki, you're up early on the West Coast, so go ahead. You start with us first.
Well, thank you, Sari, for having us on. And I'm just so thrilled to be here with my sisters and whom I just met this year, not so long ago, but it's a great sisterhood to be part of. Carmel, Tanya, Dr. V, Sheena, Ileana, Sneha. It's so good and so good to see you all here today. I'm Kiki, and I say I'm Kiki, no last name like Cher, Madonna, Beyonce. I gotta keep it a little current, even though I'm a baby boomer. So I go back.
You came first.
Exactly. So I am the CEO and founder of BlackHistoryEveryday.com, and it is a website that simply has facts about Black history, and it came out of my dissatisfaction with Black history being celebrated only once a month in the shortest month of the year, and the same facts being regurgitated, usually around men, around civil rights. There were very few women. There were very few queer folks. There was no acknowledgement of the intersections that, we have folks that are Black and Asian, Black and Latino, all of the intersections, and that Black history wasn't limited to the United States and our 402-year history here. So that's why I started it and was amazed that the website was available. And that's how you can contact me. And that's my passion. I should also say that I'm a mother of three. I have a 17-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 26-year-old. And I'm a wife. And my other tagline is that I am a blesbian, which is a Black lesbian. And I'm just happy to be here with my sisters. Thank you.
Kiki, I love that because, as a publicist, I find that we get close to February and it's like this rush to do Black History Month segments, and I'm in this constant angst in my heart going, really? Shouldn't we be talking about this 365 days? I mean, and that it comes in the same vein right now that I'm in Pride Month. I'm like, really? Pride Month? Isn't Pride Month 365 days of the year? And I commend you, because I just think that there are things we should be talking. If we were talking about these things all the time, then we would be talking about them all the time.
Right.
And so
And there's no acknowledgement about the intersections. Like, you can't be Black and queer. You can't be Black, queer, and Latina. You can't be, it's just crazy. And just one thing I'd like to leave everyone with, because it is Pride Month, that the three founders of Black Lives Matter are Black women and queer. So
yes.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up, and I think these are the conversations. Thank God you're here and talking about that, and we'll be coming and circulating around. I call her my friend because we are. We had an opportunity to have an amazing conversation not too long ago. Carmela, she's a powerhouse. Always has that great smile. Tell everyone you can watch her in an interview now on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. She's going to get us all healthy and fit. God knows if we've sat a year in our houses, we need that. Welcome back.
Thank you, Sari.
Introducing me to this morning of amazing women.
You're so welcome. So after we spoke, I went and I told the whole group, and so many chimed in saying, oh yes, they want to be a part of it. And I know that this early, like a lot of them are based out in California, so it's a little early for them. But I was appreciative of all my sisters who have joined us this morning. Thank you. Thank you. So sorry, like I was explaining before in my previous show, I came across this group. My mentor and cousin told me, oh, I know this woman who's doing a book, Women of Color Who Boss Up. And I'm in the Asian book, she tells me, and you should definitely look into it. And when I looked into it, I have been invited for other collaborative books before, but they were just kind of like, hey, give us your story and give us a few $1,000 and we got you. And in this group, it was so much more. It was listed all the things that we'd be doing, all the things that were involved. And then we also got bonuses. We all got like personalized coaching. We were all featured on all these different platforms and really encouraged and forced to boss up even more. Like, I thought I was a boss babe before. And and now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I really wasn't rocking it like I thought I was rocking it. And so it forced me to level up and even do more, like be on your show. I would never have sought out to be on your show if it wasn't for this book, as well as many other platforms. And in doing that, I've come across so many other, all these women here. And I'm thinking, I thought I was a badass, but they're actually more badass than I am.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? I always say you got to stay close to those that are badass, because it rubs off. And it makes you, yes. I always say, oh my God, I'm a slacker. Here I go.
Yes.
You know?
And I've heard a quote, I don't want to misquote Les Brown, but he had a saying that would, if you want to fly you got to soar with the eagles and you can't be down with the pigeons, or something like that. I botched that quote up, so please forgive me. But
we know what you mean.
Yeah, thank you. So I am Carmel Jean-Francois out of the New York City area, and I am owner and founder of C-Fit Coaching. And what C-Fit Coaching is, it was born as an online support group for people who were staying home through the pandemic, trying not to stay in their refrigerator as well. And I had a support group, and we spoke weekly, and I gave them challenges, and we tried to keep it fun. And weekly we would speak about our health. And as so many people know, our health, our weight, our self-image is so wrapped up in what other people think of us as well as society.
Mhm.
And it's so important for us to, and I found myself talking more about mental health, and I found myself talking more about nutrition than actual physical exercise. But I am definitely an advocate for exercise. I'm an advocate for body, mind, and spirit, and getting it all together. And once we have all those things in place, and I hate to sound like a cliche, but all those things have to be in place in order for our physical health to be where it needs to be. And it's a lifelong journey. I've been into health and fitness for more than 10 years. I'm still learning, and I learn so much from my clients and the people that I actually work with. And they keep me leveling up by asking certain questions, and then there are new trends in the health and fitness industry that force me to look up what's happening. And I think
I love
that
that.
my journey is so fabulous and fantastic, and I love working with people. And I'm not here to convince anybody that they should be taking their health seriously. I'm here to work with the people who said, I'm ready, because you have to be ready. I can't convince you that you need this at this point in your life. So yeah,
That's
so I'm
true.
excited. And I'm excited to be here. Thank you. And I'm excited to be
Well,
surrounded
thank
by
you.
my
I thank you, because in our conversation, this is how we're here today. Dr. Tanya Blackman, tell me about you and where
Thank,
you are. I think it's important that people know, especially that you really are all so spread out, so and have come together this way. So where are you, and who are you?
okay, my name is Dr. Tanya. I was born and raised in South Carolina on a dirt road. However, I live in Las Vegas, Nevada right now, and I want to thank you so much, Sarah. Hope I'm pronouncing your
Sari.
Sari.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for having us on your platform today. And good morning, Amazon bestsellers, International Women of Color Who Boss Up. Yay!
You guys are great.
And I'm just so happy to be a part of such an elite group of women. As you can see, beautiful women, and also yourself. I am known as a Queen of Grants. I'm the proud owner of Conglomerate Empowerment and also Take Up Academy. And I also help women develop money grabbing strategies. I help women level up from this level to that level to that level and then on. So I'm just so excited about being on this platform today. And that's enough. I'm going to go ahead and go on.
You know what I love? I'm sitting here, and as a publicist, I can't help think, like, the minute you started talking, I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, I want to connect you all with some other people, and I'm for sure calling you because I have a client right away. I'm like connecting. I love that. So it's one of my most favorite things. And it was like, Carmela, when you and I were talking, I'm like, okay, I got to have them on. I got to learn about. But it is one of the things I love when I meet, really exciting women, is that connection, that putting people together. So yeah, we're gonna talk. I got someone I need you to meet. I hope I'm allowed to call you Dr. V. And I love your shirt. I love a message. Because that message to me just says, like, I'm not taking your crap today. So, like, I don't know. It just, to me, that just says, like, I'm going to welcome you, but not that crap today. So I'm personally, I'm all about that. So welcome. I hope I'm allowed to say Dr. V.
You are, and thank you so much again for having us. And it's just an honor to be on your platform and with my Boss Up Sisterhood. Oh my God, this is just an honor. And I want to first tell you, I am Dr. V came by. I'm Varel D. Williams, and I'm an organizational psychologist. And during the pandemic, I had to transition into an online business from the healthcare field and from the medical field. And what I found out that when I did that, many of my clients followed me because they no longer wanted to do medication or diagnosis anymore. They wanted to use their faith and believe that they could be healed, delivered, and set free. So here I am, online trying to figure out how to boss up. Didn't know anything about all this technology. So what I did, I hired a virtual assistant, and
Yeah.
it's been upscale from there. And again, for those who don't know me, I am CEO, owner, and founder of Heart to Heart Coaching. And I want to say to the audience, that business was birthed out of pain. It was birthed out of pain, out of rejection, out of doors being closed because I did not know how to come into a new world after being in the healthcare and the clinical field most of my life. So here it is. I'm doing what I want now. I'm owning up, bossing up with my own business, meeting so many people. And the key thing, what I found out was that I had to open up my own platform. I had to create my own doors.
Yes.
And so when I began to do that, I did it afraid. And lastly, I wanted to say in this Boss Up project, guys, I told my story for the first time out loud. And I got so many inboxes of people who can resonate with me. My story, if you read my book, it talks about my mom being an alcoholic, my dad leaving us, and we, us moving from middle class to poverty. And then just discovering that it doesn't matter what your situation is, you can be anything that God have created you to be. And
Yeah.
so that's where I am, and that's my message to all my powerful women. My target, I want to say this, my target is mature midlife women, because some of them are 50, some 40s, but 50, 60, and they feel like their life has ended. And no, I'm a certified image consultant. I'm here to help develop you mentally, physically, spiritually, however way God works with me. And so that's my message to the world. I'm so excited.
And I must say, like, how brave of you, because just starting with that, it's really brave of you to be able to tell that story. That's number one, a huge first step. But being able to share that really helps your own clients. You've lived
Yes,
it,
it
you're living
does.
it, you know it. I mean, it's so authentic in helping them. So,
Thank
where
you.
are you located? Where are you?
I'm here in Houston, Texas,
Okay.
a native of Michigan,
Oh,
and
okay. That's
just
right.
growing here in
Yeah.
Texas. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to say this right. Shania?
Sneha,
Sheena? Oh,
Sneha,
Shanae.
Sneha,
Say it again.
Sneha, Sneha.
Okay.
It's like I tell people it's like snake and then ha ha ha, or snack and then ha ha ha. So Sneha. It's a misnomer I learned when I was little. So
And where are
yeah,
you?
I am actually located in California. So I'm in, San Jose, California
I
right
have
now.
woken up a lot of people today. My goodness, you
Yeah,
all look gorgeous.
yeah. Well, thank you so much. We all wake up this way, don't we, ladies?
Yeah, sure.
You know, but thank you so much for having us. I am honored to have been on this journey with all of these incredible women. My sisters, we we wake up and rise up and go to bed together. I feel like all day we're texting each other through the Facebook group chat, and it's just phenomenal. I think this has been an incredible journey, and it's clearly not over yet. We finished our summit last week, and here we are still in touch. And that just proves how strong and bonded we all are. And I don't think it's ever going to change, and I hope it doesn't. But when it comes to me, I think I am the youngest of the group. And I doesn't mean that I'm that young, but it means that I'm one of the youngest ones. But I still love each and every one of these ladies because I have learned so much from them, and they're so incredible. And I still consider them to be my sisters because we guide each other, we lift each other up, we rise up. And as Dr. V said, this is the first time that I shared more of my story to an audience and just out loud. And it was scary. And I was nervous and I was like very critical of myself, but I got so much great feedback. And I had lots of women coming to me saying, I felt that way. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being there. And that's what it's all about. And for me, I'm a women and youth empowerment coach. So I work with women and youth to help them lead the life that they were meant to live, and to learn that it's okay to prioritize yourself. And especially for women, from a young age, we're taught that, you know what? You are here to serve the men in your life. You're here to serve the world. You come last. And oh yeah, do it while you're pretty. Do it while you're managing the house. Do it while you're managing all these things. But hey, you're second-class citizen. No. So for me, that never flied with me. That never fit with who I was. And I remember my mother growing up going, don't pick an Indian man, because their family will have expectations for you, and that's not how I raised you. And I was like, oh, okay. So for me, I went through life knowing that I had to, at some point, learn how to ignore the world. And I was very bad at it. I was a people pleaser, ladies. I was a people pleaser. And then through a story of pain and angst, where my people pleasing slapped me in the back and said, you know what? It's your time now. Last year, when COVID hit, I said, you know what? I'm done being everyone's lackey. I'm done serving the world. I'm here to serve myself. And I was always the motivator for my friends, my colleagues, my family members. I said, I'm done. I'm going to motivate myself, and I'm going to motivate others. And that's how it is from now on. And that's where Empower You was born. That's when she came to be. And now I work with women and children to rise up, prioritize themselves, and realize that they can be their own superheroes, and they can lead a movement. Because if we all rise up, and if we all realize what our gift is, and if we start closing the door on anyone and everyone that says otherwise, imagine how powerful we will be. And imagine what the world will look like if we all say, you know what? That's so sweet. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Even if it's your parents, even if it's your cousins, even if it's your spouse. And I'm not asking for anyone to get a divorce. I'm not asking for any of that. I have a lovely marriage. I love him. But I am saying, make sure that everyone that's in your circle is someone who's your well-wisher. If they are not, it is okay to say no to them. And it does not mean that you are a bad person. It means that you love yourself, and it's your time to be selfish. So yes, be selfish. Ladies and children, prioritize you. So that's Sneha.
I can't tell you, I love that. I know I've said I love that after every one of you, but that's why we're here. But I have a 26-year-old daughter. I think she's a pleaser because I'm a pleaser. And she's the coordinator of her friends, and I am too. And you do feel badly. You take that on, and I listen to her, and I'll say, you need to be selfish, and maybe that's the wrong word, but it's really, you need to be self-care. We've used this word selfish in this negative, and it's really, you need to take care of yourself. It's you need to be you need to do what's good for you. And I love that you're working with youth. I love that you're working the age group you're working with, but I love that you're working with youth, because as a mom of two boys and a daughter, but my daughter in particular, who's, I always say you should watch my Facebook lives. I know she doesn't, so I'm good talking about her right now. But I'll say to her, if I could go back to those nursery school days and teach her to be a little nasty on the playground. Mm-hmm. Like, I sometimes will say to my husband, why was she the nice kid in the sandbox? Because I'm so happy she was the nice kid on the sandbox. Yet some days I wish she wasn't the nice kid on the sandbox.
I do. And you know what? I was the kid that was nice, but I was taken advantage of. Right. And then I was also, and then if I ever said no and I stood up for myself, then I was suddenly bossy.
You were
And
bossy, or
I was bossy.
oh, your job, she would call me and she's like, apparently I'm being bitchy today. And I'm
Right.
like, and then
Right.
I'm terrible because I've caught myself saying, oh, well, how did you say it? And I think to myself, how did you say it? She's a sweet kid. She said it because she was standing up for herself. I know she didn't say it bitchy or any of those. She just stood up for herself. And then I'll call my husband and I'm like, want to go back to her 4-year-old program at nursery school and teach that kid to be a little bitchy on the playground. And like, and the problem is that I always say, there are mean moms. There's some mean moms out there, and those are the mean kids. I will say I wasn't a mean mom, and so therefore I don't have a mean kid. But there's got to be a balance out there where we do teach our kids that it's okay to take care of self-care for themselves. It's and to feel okay about it, because I will say, as you work with youth, they get that FOMO. I'm sure they're like, they didn't make the plan, so all of a sudden they're not part of the plan, or
yes.
There's all.
It's an epidemic, and I think everything that you are going through with your kids, you and I should probably have some follow-up conversations. But you brought me into my demographic is 20s and 30s. I work with young kids too, but when kids are in their 20s and 30s, somehow these days they're operating a little bit differently than I did, and it's a little interesting, and it's not good or bad, but it's really time for them to
technology.
also
The technology nightmare.
Technology. My kids say that I am ancient because I didn't have a cell phone at their age. They didn't exist. I don't know what to tell you.
As you said, you're the youngest one online here. But
yes, I am. In fact, I guess I'll date myself. My birthday's in a couple months, and in a month, in 1 month, and I'll be 29. So I know I'm young. I know. But in my circles, I'm one of the older, more responsible ladies. And my husband, when I was
there you go.
You're 40 already. But anyways, that's
we all think we're 29.
But thank you, Sari, for having all of us.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you're joining us. Ileana, you need to start with that big announcement that you told us offline, because that's just me as a publicist. I go right to you need to boast about yourself. So start there, my friend.
Thank you. We were talking earlier how I woke up yesterday morning to the announcement or recognition from the New York Journal about being selected one of the top 10 inspiring women to watch for 2021. So very, very grateful and humbled for that recognition. So thank you for bringing it up. I wouldn't have said
Never
it.
tell a publicist don't tell a publicist anything that you don't want the world to know. I'm a good secret keeper. That I will tell you, because I am very good at, like, if someone says you can't tell anyone yet, I'm like, first of all, that's the killer. Like, it's like, really, you want to say that to a publicist? But on the truth, if no one like kind of qualifies that, the world's gonna know. Just so you know.
I'm so excited to be here this morning. I live in the East Coast, so for me it's still morning, but it's not as early for other ladies in the group. But I'm so psyched to be a part of this group, and which you can start to see that we're from all different walks of life, from all different industries, from all different areas of expertise. And I love that, because I think it comes to show what pushing yourself out of your comfort zone to meet other people will do for you. Because we have this tendency to just surround ourselves from, similar people that think like us, like-minded individuals, right? It's what we always say, like, I want to be surrounded by like-minded individuals because they're the ones that are going to make me grow and support me. And yes, in a way, but you also need to surround yourself from all kinds of other individuals that maybe are not like-minded, that will show you a different way of looking at life, of looking at the world that you would have never thought of. Like, if I think about my life without this book, I would have never met any of these ladies. That's the reality. I don't think our paths would have crossed. I'm an executive career transformation strategy coach, and my focus is on the corporate environment and helping women, grow in their career from a corporate perspective. So definitely, we would have passed, each other maybe on Facebook, maybe on LinkedIn, on social media, but I don't think we would have really made that connection. And it was through this book that we were able not only to make a connection, but a meaningful connection that, like some of the ladies before said, like we wake up in the morning chatting through the day, we ask each other for things, we support each other, and we've really come to bond in a way that I would have never, even thought of, because we share the same mission. Even as different as we may be, or our past and our current and our future, our values are aligned, our mission is aligned, the impact that we want to create for others is aligned. And I think that's where I would have never thought that we would have made that connection. But that connection has become so much more powerful because of it, because it comes from the heart, because we all want to create that same positive impact on women everywhere, especially women of color, because that's, who we all represent. Yep. But that doesn't, mean that women and men and allies out there do not suffer the same, or do not feel the same, or do not go through the same ups and downs that we go through. So I love this, the project, one, because it pushed us to do things that, like all the women said, we didn't know how to, and we just jumped into it and hoped for the best, and it came out awesome. I would have never thought that we were going to be #1 best-selling authors, right? It was like, wow, now
I would have guessed that. I would have guessed.
Now it was accomplished. But it wasn't only believing in that we could do things, but it was also on the power of collaboration, and of collaboration with people that I wouldn't have, made it first on my list. And not because they're not incredible women, but it's not something that you naturally tend to do. And now I think this is a great example for other women to say, yes, keep pushing yourself to do things differently, and to connect with others that maybe at first glance you'll say, I don't know what the relationship might be, but just being curious, just learning about the stories of each other, you'll find some deeper and more important connections that'll I know that I have friends here for the rest of my life. And maybe after this project is over, maybe we will not talk as often as we did for the project, but I know that I'll keep reaching out for specific things, or if I come in contact with somebody that I know will benefit from any of the services of anybody else in this group, I'll immediately make the connection. So that I think is something that came out that I truly value from this project, and that I hope that people viewing us learn that the power of connection and of learning and of building those relationships can go, a long way.
I think that's a great message. I think that will be such an amazing message that will resonate when they see, and there's more of you. And I think we should say that too, that this is such an amazing group. I want to get to Sheena, our last boss up. And you were you part also of the Boss Up Women of Asian Boss Up, and then the Women of Color too?
Yes.
So, okay, so we have a dual hitter here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sheena. I'm from Toronto, Canada. And yes, I'm in 2 books, one called Asian Women Who Boss Up, and the other one, International Women of Color Who Boss Up. Other than that, I'm also a keynote speaker, coach, an award-winning podcaster on building self-confidence. And it's always been my mission to elevate women, especially women of color, especially Asian women, because growing up, I never had that. And especially with what's been going on since the pandemic, the number of the rise of anti-Asian hate crimes has been really bad, and it's affected women a lot more than men. Women are almost 2.5 times more targeted than men, and it also affects our mental health, right? Because we're dealing with the mental health of the pandemic and racism. So it's really important for us to keep speaking up, because regardless what culture we come from, we all go through similar things. We all go through similar cultural biases or gender biases. And I always believe in working together, standing in solidarity, because we've all gone through some form of racism. And the only way to end this is to stand in solidarity, work together to end this big problem that we're having. And also as women, right? I mean, the
100%.
pandemic has set us back a lot. And so it's really up to us to boss up, speak up for ourselves, and speak up for others. I mean, in Canada alone, women lost their jobs 100 times more than men since February of 2020. In the month of December in the States, 100% job loss on women. And globally, women have lost a total income of $800 billion from the pandemic. So this is why it's so important for us to keep speaking up, keep bossing up, and create our own tables, create our own seats, because for for me, I think women do a better job than men, and it's been proven that
on everything.
Yeah, pretty much. And to have a successful post-pandemic world, we need to help women boss up.
I've thought a lot about this, and it's this kind of question. This is sort of for everyone. And as we sit here, Asian, Black, I'm Jewish, the anti-racism, the anti-Asian, the things that went on in this country last summer. I'm always just dumbfounded, how far backwards we've gone. And I sit here today and I look at all of us representing so many different cultures, religions, gender, affinities. And I think to myself, if we come together and have these conversations, we move the pendulum, we move it. But, I do get, I'm one voice and I get frustrated, and I appreciate you all. And I appreciate when you get up in the morning and you have your texting going on, whether it's just to say, Dr. V, are you having a good day? Are you doing okay? Because I think that's how we do move the mountain. I hope that there are other places that this is happening, because here in Michigan right now, there's a huge amount of anti-Semitism going on, just like there is across the country. There's a huge, as you said, Sheena, the huge anti-Asian. I don't know where it's, I don't understand hate, I guess is what I'm saying. You all can open up your mics. And so I guess the big question is, in this year of you all working together, between your different cultures, your religion, your skin tones, all of those things. I mean, what have you maybe learned about yourself, or working with someone who you met who was different? What opened your eyes to that?
I'd like to answer on that a little bit. I feel like as a Black woman in America, I feel like growing up, it was always white or Black. And there's not even shades of gray, right? There's shades of brown, and there's shades of red, and there's shades of so many other things that's going on, and more to do than race. You mentioned cultures, you mentioned religions. And what it did was open my mind to even the term woman of color or person of color. I didn't really get a good grasp of that term until I was a part of this book. And to see Asian women come forward, Indonesian women, Thai women come forward, Jewish women come forward and say, yes, I am a person of color. And okay, you consider yourself a person of color. That was huge to me. That was very huge. And it did open my eyes. So this conversation is definitely needed. Sari, your voice is needed. Your voice is needed because it's not just your voice, right? There are 8 of us. So your voice just turned into 8. So we are headed in the right direction. We are taking a few steps forward. It's slow, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I, I do, you know, I'm like the millennials. I don't like slow. I think, you know, um, because, you know, and I say that because in my innocence of, can't we just all get along? And I said it earlier when Kiki said, you know, Black History Month, really? I got to wait till February? I mean, are we kidding?
No.
You know, no. Pride Month? No. And so, you know, to all of you, do as many of these, talk to by yourself, talk to, you know, everybody, because no, I don't want to wait. As a publicist, I don't want to do a segment in February on Black History Month. You know, I don't want to do a segment on Jewish History Month, you know, which is, I don't know, in April, you know. You know, I think that when people sit down and have a conversation, you learn from one another. And you know, I've had some incidences here in regards to Jewish and Palestinian conversations. And I think your skin tone color can be the same, you know, and it's about communicating. Let me ask you a little bit about
Sorry,
boss up.
sorry to interrupt,
Yeah,
because I just want to add on a thought of things that I work on my area. I think a lot of the conversation of you know, talking to each other, what I've seen is sometimes these discrepancies that occur between two people from either different backgrounds, different cultures, different identities, is because there's a belief that we need to agree with each other. And these conversations are just to understand the story, the experience that the other person's having.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with them, but you do have to understand where they're coming from, why they feel that way, why they believe. And I think that is where the disconnect is in a lot of people.
I want to add on one thing though, and it may be because of what I do for a living. I think there's a way to say things and message things too. And in this world of social media and communicating, I think it's appropriate to think about how you communicate too. Words are very damaging. We have seen that in the last, I'm sorry, from a political standpoint, in the last 4 years. You know, it's very important how we say and what we say. And I agree, we don't have to agree. And I just had a situation with someone who put something out on social media, and it was someone I followed and wanted to work with me. And I said in a very polite, professional email, I'm going to unfollow you at this time. At this time, I don't believe that your message aligns with my messaging and my brand. And I wish you well. I found it very harmful, his messaging. Now, I'm not going to change what he does, wasn't going to try and change what he does. I wish he would, of course, because I think there's a better way of doing it. Now, interestingly enough, he came right back at me and, you know, I just didn't engage because, you know, sometimes what you're going to find is you're just talking to a wall. And in a calmer moment, you know, and then he came back a few days later and if, you know, And, maybe down the road, I will engage in a different, more professional conversation. And I would welcome that. But I think sometimes, you also have to have cooler heads, but I found his message to be inaccurate, not right. And I have the choice of who I follow. I always tell people when people get all up in arms about social media, I'm like, unfollow. It's called click, unfollow, you know, um, and remember what social media is for. But I think, I think that that's what's, also part of it really important in conversation is how we talk, how we say things, it, you know, it, in these conversations, because it's so true. I don't, I don't expect people to agree with me. They don't need to agree with me. I don't personally want to fight with someone. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, I like to be right.
But you know
Who
what?
doesn't like to be right? But
I think it's important also not only how we talk, but how we listen. And I think
oh,
that's what has happened with us, that
Yeah.
we
yeah.
got an opportunity to listen to one another and to be able to celebrate our differences and to embrace what we had in common, our connections that Ileana spoke about. And
Mhm.
I think that that's the issue in all of these things, that people want to separate and they want to say how someone is the other. So, you're not human because you're Asian. You're not human because you're Latino. You're not human because you're Black. You're not human because you're Jewish. And then to embrace the intersections that I've talked about is like, you can be Jewish, Black, queer, the same in the same person, Latina in the same person. But I think that we all came to, I know we all came together. We were able to talk, and then we were able to read our stories, and we're still able to connect and find out that we have a lot in common, and to celebrate these connections, and also to applaud and celebrate our differences, which we see as wonderful things.
Yeah.
And I find that fascinating as an education. I mean, to know that there's things similar, but I find it, I grew up Jewish in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And so there was no, it was my sister and my cousins at the time, and so now, here I live in Detroit, a suburb of Detroit, where there's lots of Jews. My kids, would say to me, we live in the bubble. And and it's this very bubble life. And I used to say to my kids, here's the real world. Now you're going to go in the real world,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I, they need to know, like, the real world is is all shapes, sizes, and colors. And to, because growing up, I celebrated Christmas. I wanted to know customs and of all sorts. And I had that, but I also got to enjoy my own. And so, it was really important to me as a mother, but you have to, I think you have to learn to step outside.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing something on the news not too long ago, and it dealt with the race relations, and it struck me as interesting. And it said we have to stop asking what we can do and just start doing it.
Yeah. And if I can jump in really quick, I love that. Just us having this dialogue right now, Boss Up, this project, we have reached so many people. And it may look slow, but it has been great elevation in the things, our topics, the things that we talked about. And the Bible talks about in all our ways get understanding. And so we don't have to agree, but we have to respect the differences. And that's what people don't, most people, I look back, our topic, sorry, was colorism. It was speaking up, and just so many phenomenal topics that caused us to launch out. And one of the things that's so powerful right now, we're speaking out. We're speaking out, and that was something, I look back in elementary, we all had bullies. We had, little, bullies that if we talked too much, if we said anything, it was always bullies. And here it is, as we grow up, even in corporate, we have bullies, but on a different level. We have bullies out here in the world, but it's a different kind of level. They don't call it bullies. But all of this is to stop us from speaking out. And this is what we're doing. We're speaking out. We are supporting each other. And there are so many people that are responding to us. They're responding to us. They're sending us late messages at night. They're inboxing us. And so I want everybody to know, if you think that this is not working, it's literally touching one heart to another. And even after today, watch how big this grows. So that's the thing. If we keep on talking about it, we can make a difference. We can make a difference. It starts with us.
I know we're losing people, and I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, I put in the chat, like, I want you all to come on individually. So I know we just talked an hour. Usually these are like 20 minutes. I knew we were gonna bust the roof on that one. I do want you all to come on. Carmela, I'm gonna make sure that everybody, I'm gonna go through you. I'm gonna make sure that everybody has my link, because each of you, I want to spend more time with you. I want to connect with you, figure out how I can connect people with you. I could talk another 3 hours with you.
It's true.
I mean, I want to be a guest on the chat in the morning. Just want to crawl. I want to crawl into your little chat. All of you, including the ones that were not part of today, are incredible women, incredible stories. I know that you all are the women who are making the changes that we're going to see, that we're seeing. It's what has to happen. Yes. I mean, I'm personally tired of saying the time is now. The time is past. We need to do it. And thank God it's in all of our hands. We have the power.
We do have the power.
So have a blessed day. Thank you. Thank you
so much
for
again,
spending
Sally.
so much time with me. I feel selfish. I know I took you away from something, but
no.
This
was needed.
All right. It's such a pleasure.
I appreciate it. I will make sure you all have the links. Carmela, you're going to be my go-to.
I'd be happy to. Thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too, Sari. Thank you.
Bye-bye.